Previously on Quantum Kickflip.
If Triskelion Base goes on as planned, the towers will be sunk into a pit of toxic fog well beyond what we've experienced in our lifetimes.
We need everyone to know what this is going to do before they finish building it.
It seems to me that the easiest way to communicate is if we get control of the billboards that are located throughout the whole tower.
If we're going to do this, I think we need to hit all three, and we need to hit them all at the same time.
3 out of 4 tracks are 4 letters each, fail, and they are specific to each tower. There will be a 4th track, security. Every time one of the shorter danger tracks is marked, the longer danger track will be marked. Trev 4, Wanda, Wendy, and Whitney Wick, and Stanch Lufts. You realize that you're looking right into the bullpen of the Sword Sliders. You got a Code Sienna. Code Sienna, they are hot on your heels. And just up ahead of you is the elevator. Helix, Pinnacle, Mondo, Decembria, and Hanser.
I'm Mogi Jacksonville, and this is the Golden Boy. And he starts running naked through the thing, fist going wherever he's going.
You rush towards the elevator together. The door closes behind you, and it is only then that you realize you're not going up, you're going down.
Oh, shit.
Maeve, Wolt, Sharla, K-Jump, and Tibbles. Sharla's calculations were slightly off. You are on a little detour in Empyrean. Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Quantum Kickflip. My name is Laena, I am your host and your Slugmaster, and with me are some of my best and funniest friends in the whole world who are going to introduce themselves to you now. Players, as you introduce yourselves, I want you to tell me about a plan you had that went a little sideways.
I could start. My name is Robyn. I play Maeveline Xandross, the Grit Playbook. And your Slugmaster and I were planning on having a baby in about 3 months from now, would be the full 9 months. And that plan went awry in that we had a baby 2 weeks ago. It went a little sideways. I was supposed to be playing my album release party that night. And instead I was in the hospital. I was supposed to be in Toronto last weekend for a festival. This kid screwed up a lot of my plans. But he's here, and he's happy, and he's healthy. I mean, he's very small and not that healthy because he was born too early, but he's getting better every day. And we're hoping we can bring him home from the hospital soon.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Liam. I play Helix Pinnacle, the Smarts Playbook with a hard light board, and I recently had some plans upended as well. My partner and I were planning to catch my favorite band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, on their world tour. They have 2 Canadian stops, one in Vancouver, one in Toronto. We couldn't make the Toronto one, and we've been to Vancouver a bunch, so we're like, hey, maybe this is a great opportunity to go see parts of the United States we've never seen. We were thinking Austin. We were thinking Louisiana, like New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even Vegas. And then we realized all of those dates, Vegas, New Orleans, Austin, are all after November 6th. And there's an election this year in America. And frankly, it doesn't matter who wins. I think it's going to suck after that election. Regardless of who wins or claims they won. So we just opted to go back to Vancouver for the 100th time to see them. Sorry if we have any American listeners. I wanted to bring my tourism dollars to one of your beautiful states, but you're run by chaotic old men. So.
That's actually Vancouver's tourism slogan is Vancouver. Could be worse.
Hello, my name is David Ray, and I play Trev 4 with the Heart Playbook. And a plan of mine that went awry is when I was living here in Edmonton, and I was like, okay, we got to move out of this place. We're going to move. And we found a place 4 houses down from where we currently are. And we don't even need to rent a truck. We could just like move the stuff over 4 houses. This is going to be great. And like a few days, like a week before we were going to make this move, my new landlord says, oops, I made a mistake. Oopsie. The people currently living there are not moving out yet. And so I had to adjust from like, oh, this is going to be a 4-door move to, oh, we have to rent a rental, like a truck and storage place for a month, and then rent a truck again in a month to move in. So I had moved twice, and then we wound up staying with a random family at the church that we were going to at the time, and just staying with them for a month. And just like, we have like parents that we have to live in the basement of that aren't our parents. So it went from like, oh, this is going to be the easiest move to the blurst move.
My name is Michael Vetsch, and I'm here playing Woldton Wick, the Chill Playbook with the Robot Companion. And earlier today, I was planning on making a chicken quesadilla for lunch, but when I got home from a job interview, I found out my partner had eaten the chicken yesterday, so I made a cheese quesadilla. Sideways!
And to bring it on home, as I mentioned, my name is Laena. I'm your host and your Slugblaster. And I'm going to be real with y'all. Robyn stole mine. And it was a really good one, so I'm just going to use it again. I was going to have a baby at the end of May, and I had one at the start of March instead, but he's perfect. So
Yeah.
how sideways is it really? A little bit. He can't breathe good. I'll get there. Speaking of plans going awry, Gold Star Disaster had a plan to relay a message to all of Operaeblum to warn them of their impending doom, and all of your plans have gone awry just a little bit. So we're going to check in on each of you and see how you can course correct. Let's play some Slugblaster.
Course correct.
We are going to start in Kindred Multiversal Mega Tower with Trev 4. You are accompanied by the Wicks and by Stanch Lufts. You took your personal elevator / home as high as it could go, which ended up being floor 6. Now, your elevator is kind of out of the way of everything. It's along one of the outer walls of Kindred Tower. And once you left and found yourself on floor 6, you realized that you were right next to a sword slider bullpen. You managed to sneak past, but just past, before they noticed you. And in a flurry of a code Sienna, they are hot on your heels, fully clad in their black tactical gear. With your 360 vision, you can see that they are sort of drawing weapons. They've got what looks like, a version of something that would fire taser bolts, much like what you have. You see plates on their forearms out of the way, and then a little tube comes out, and they're pointing their fist at you, and they're going to shoot something out of that tube. Right up straight ahead, there is...
I'm sorry, did you just describe all of the weapons the sword sliders are carrying and none of them were swords?
They're out of range.
Yeah, they're sword
attacks.
when they get into range.
And then their other forearm plate goes... and then it... and that's a sword, is what the sound effects you just heard. So on one forearm is a tube, and it's a ranged attack, and on the other forearm is a sword.
I'm just saying.
Are you happy, Robyn?
I've approved of every way that you've carried forward my legacy of season 1 into season 2, except for just now. That was the first time I've had a
Had
complaint.
swords before. And they have swords now.
Okay.
It's in the name.
As it should be.
Yes. Trev 4, straight ahead of you is another lift. And that is where you were trying to get to, so... what do you do?
So I think in this case, with all of them bearing down, I know that Stanch, he probably got a bum knee, so he can't run as fast. So we need to run some interference, I think, on this. So what I want to do is bring out the taser bolts, get them lined up, getting my vision, like tracking all these different things, blast up into the air and like send them all, and so that I'm the main target if they decide to fire back because I'm the most clear.
Okay,
threat.
I'll keep that in mind.
Start firing off these taser bolts in all of which different directions. And
are you aiming for them, or are you sort of aiming around them to try and sort of cause confusion?
Like these are taser bolts, so like these are like for crowd control.
Yeah.
I'm using like literally their weapons against them.
Okay, cool.
And so I'm going to use a die from my visor. I'm going to use maybe a hype die.
And actually, before you calculate all of this,
Yeah.
so your role is kind of like running interference and trying to like neutralize this threat and get them away from you as you make your way to the left.
I'm trying to make it so that my allies get to the lift.
Yeah, and I think getting onto this lift and taking it up is going to be attached to the success of this roll.
Sure.
And egg on my face, I forgot to invoke Stanch's advantage last episode when you took a lift. So I'll just go ahead and carry that over to this roll. You can add 2d6 from Stanch.
Ooh. Okay. Do I need to roll any kick? Like as far as can I just do that with the roll?
I think you can. I don't think there's anything here that specifically requires kick. If you want to guarantee you take all of them out, or if you want to like mark extra style. Speaking of, you doing a trick, fam?
Yes, I would like to do a trick in this one.
Okay.
I'm going to put a lot on the line. I want to be recording this for later purposes.
Okay,
for later propaganda purposes.
Ooh, all right.
And okay, so I have 46 on this. One of these got to be 6, right?
That's how probably works.
That's so close. A 1, a 2, 4, and a 5.
Ooh.
Almost.
All right, a mixed success.
Trev launches himself up, turns, and is like looking at all these things, all these guys running at him. You know, his wrist pops down and starts firing all the taser bolts that he kind of has. Take that, sword sliders! Slide right onto hell! And starts pegging them. There's too many, though. Like, this is the whole crew. But at least, you know, they turn their weapons. They start firing up at Trev. The Wicks rush in and, like, cheer on Stanch to get there, and Stanch is coming, bum leg and everything, gets onto the lift, and then Trev turns to follow suit. Blasters are coming at him, and he's rushing towards the lift.
I think maybe like Whitney throws down her hoverboard and kind of like grabs Stanch and uses her gravity beam just to kind of give them a little boost of lightness, just so they like zip quickly, or like almost like a grappling hook, and just like kind of pulls them to the lift so that Stanch is able to like get there a little bit faster. Stanch immediately like goes into the inner workings of the elevator, and he basically has it so that the moment you're through the doors, those doors will slam shut and it'll go. There's no delay here. You see that they're all in the clear. You see that Stanch is basically holding the elevator for you. You zip through. One of the sword sliders, I was going to say fires from the tube, but they're sword sliders. He fires the sword from his arm.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Legend of Zelda Link, where he's fully at health and he can shoot his laser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He fires a beam from the sword. Perfect.
Yeah.
This beam hits you straight in the head.
Okay.
And everything becomes kind of data mosh glitching for you.
Okay.
Your head kind of fills with static. Your loudspeaker in your chest blares out the Kindred anthem briefly, and then it like kind of skips and peters out. You're gonna take the slam of jumbled.
Okay.
And this is also going to mark another spot on the danger track. So that's 3 out of 4.
Yeah. I might have to use that middle finger soon. So as this beam is maybe as Trev gets into the elevators, all right, let us go, and then it goes down and crumples into like a pile of limbs and everything like that in a very, because he's not a true human, folds up in a weird position onto the floor of the lift as the doors close.
Oh no, Trav! Hang on, I can fix this. And Wendy starts messing with the dials and settings on a reality cannon, and then Whitney puts a hand on it and shakes her head like, you don't know what you're doing. And Wendy's like, no, my friend, Trev, are you okay? Speak to me.
Eonti is all right. Kindred, we are wonderful.
Trev, easy. Don't push yourself with the patriotism. Hold on. Let's see what we're dealing with. Oh, Garb, that's deep.
It's like a medical drama in this elevator as all of the Wicks and Stance are just gathered around you, and Wanda's like, do something, can we fix him? What's going on? And
I'm trying, he's oiling out. Someone, quick.
What if I change his adjective from wet to dry?
I remember that in Grey's Anatomy when they said, what happens if we can change him from wet to dry?
Whitney has opened up a panel and has been staring at it intently, and then at one point she looks up at everyone else and just like shakes her head solemnly. Wendy bursts into tears. Like, you're going to be okay, right? Like, this hasn't messed you up so badly that you are non-functional, but I want you to keep in mind that you're a little bit glitchy right now, and are gonna be as long as you have this jumbled slam.
Yeah. I need to take a moment to like reboot or whatever, but that takes, time, and we don't have time.
Exactly. The elevator shoots up and ascends right to the floor you need, floor 841. And the doors open onto one of the highest floors of Kindred Tower. But we're going to cut away. Maeve and Wolt, you are with Sharla, K-Jump, and Tybalt, trying to make your way to the higher floors of Lansden Enterprise Megatower. But you're not in Lansden. You're not even in Operaeblum. You took a thin zone that you anticipated would take you to a higher floor. But that thin zone has taken you to Empyrean. This section of the ribbon of Empyrean is fairly ripply. It's got quite a few peaks and valleys, and in fact it even rises up in front of you and loops back over itself, forming a sort of ceiling above your heads. The ribbon is currently this dark blue indigo sort of color, and the sky is like red wine, creating a weird golden hour effect. You'd think it would be really dark, but Empyrean doesn't really do dark. There's quite a bit going on in these sort of ripples leading to this big rise in the ribbon. You see these white and green trees that are reaching up and out and kind of touching each other, and then touching the trees up at the top that's like up over your head. There's a creek running alongside you, and you see that it forms a waterfall that like is just like pouring from the top of the ribbon somehow. Through the trees, very calmly walking along, are these winged deer, gently grazing. They haven't seen you yet. There are big flowers as well, sort of amongst the trees. They have mouths, and they're making like kissy lips at you. And you need to find your way out of Empyrean and hopefully back to Operaeblum. If only there was someone who knew the way.
All right, slight change of plans. It looks like that notion we had of just zipping through Operaeblum through a planar thin zone is actually spat us out somewhere we don't want to be, but that's okay. We should still be able to find our way back in, and hopefully back in higher. Charlotte, what are your multiverse senses telling you? Is there a path through?
Oh, Maeveline, this feels so weird. Oh no, what is going on? It's so bright, but the sky is like wine, but it's also, there's blue everywhere.
No, it's okay. It's just, we're in Empyrean, but it's all right. We've been here before, and it was a bit of a head trip last time, but that's just because we didn't have logic binders, and the crew has logic binders right now, so our crew has logic binders. Oh, Vux. Charlotte doesn't have a logic binder. BRB. And Maeve looks to the two members of BRB. Do they have logic binders?
I always have my binders. I'm ready for school. This is not school.
I'm going to take that as a no.
I know exactly what to do. And K-Jump starts fumbling through her void warp back, and she's like, I keep my wings in here. And then we can fly to the top and then back down.
The top, there's something at the top, the tippity top, the top of the tip, the top. There's something at the top, there's something going on,
Charlotte, I need you to focus. Is the thin zone at the top?
We all must focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't let it get away, Maeve. Don't let it get away.
Maeve looks to Walt like, any thoughts here?
She seems pretty keen on getting to the top of things. Did you want me to give her my binder?
No, I think we gotta keep our heads on straight here if we gotta babysit these three.
Oh no, is this one of those dreams where your head twists off?
Oh boy.
Let's just try to get everyone together on one ride if we can.
Don't try it, K-Jump. And you see K-Jump is like turning her head as far as it will go on one side.
Carcinocan, data search to Cyphoskin.
Smart move.
And Carcinocan does that.
Yeah, normally Carcinocan's the one who says it.
Yeah, we're like, they're working together.
That's nice.
Cyphoskin. And then Carcinocan grows from his little crab form into the large tan horseshoe crab, big enough for everyone to climb on and sort of sit down and stop wandering about.
Very good.
Yeah, do we need to do a roll here at all? Because Maeve can maybe help kind of gather everyone up and get them onto the thing.
Yeah, I think you do need to make a roll to sort of get to this thin zone. I think getting everyone there successfully is probably going to require a kick.
Fair.
The crab on the slab went from drab to glab.
Oh, I know this one. The rain in Popularia stays mainly in
the urban area?
You know it. Whoa. And Kate just goes, oh, what's my line? And she starts crying.
Maeve is like trying to keep everyone together here. She's like got one hand, like K-Jump was trying to twist her own head off, so Maeve's got one hand on K-Jump, but then Tybalt's, wandering off another, so she's got another hand grabbing Tybalt, and then Charla's...
He was trying to kiss one of the flowers.
Yeah. Charla's stumbling forward, so like a second hand on one of those same arms grabs Charla, and she's just like, she's trying to wrangle everyone, but it's too much, and she has a thought that Maeveline doesn't have very often, which is, I wish I had more arms. And then she realizes that she can't actually do that. So I'm going to use my hard light upscaling to roll to temporarily augment my jacket with useful hard light ornaments such as glowing tentacles, giant polygonal fists, or briefly serviceable wings. I'm going more the glowing tentacles route here.
Okay. Just literally going to make more arms, but kind of.
Yeah. Just to sort of like gather everyone up and hold, like, seatbelt everyone onto Zyphoskin so no one goes, like, careening off one side. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be my contribution to this getting us to the top roll. So I will add a kick and a d6 from my jacket as a result of that maneuver.
So yeah, Maeve is kind of handling all the passengers. I think Wolt is at the proverbial reins of this horseshoe crab. Take the horseshoe crab by the reins.
Yes.
And I will be enacting the robot companion ability of mobility boosters. Roll to have your robot go really fast, carry a passenger or two, ditch the hoverboard and hop on. Since it is listed as passenger 2, I'm guessing I will need to spend some kick to make this work for the whole group. How much do you think it would need for this? We've got a group of 5?
I think 1 kick is probably fine. So we can make do with the one that Maeve has provided.
All right. So the chill starts off with 2d6. Maeve has added 1. I will also add 1 from my turbo pool. So we are rolling with 4d6 and a kick.
Let's give you 1 more from BRB.
Ooh, what's their advantage?
Team rolls.
Oh, dope.
Oh.
Teamwork.
Okay.
3 5s.
Mark, probably 1 style for Steezy. And let's describe your ascent to this thin zone.
Zyphoskin launches up off the ground and begins soaring sort of in between trees, weaving in and out. He's still sort of following the general shape of the ribbon, but up in the air, there's a bit of clearance, so he can kind of move around it. He's not necessarily all on the one side of the ribbon, but taking whichever path seems to get the best altitude up and around toward where they suspect this thin zone would be.
And Maeve has got everyone in like an octopus group hug, just like holding. And I feel like they're wriggling every time something catches their interest. Like Tybalt sees something and is like, whoa, and starts like reaching off the side, and Maeve's like, whoop, 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 hey.
This is just like the dream I have about the menacing seatbelts.
So I'm sorry, Charlotte. I should have thought. You have told me about that dream many times.
Those deer are beautiful. How do you know they're deer? How do you know that's their name? I don't know.
All right, everyone, eyes forward, please. Hands and legs in the ride.
This is the first thing that I thought of as you were talking about Zyphoskin sort of moving between and above and below the trees, sort of following the shape of the ribbon up towards this thin zone. The trees start tickling him. And would a horseshoe crab be ticklish? You would think maybe not, but Zyphoskin is sort of reacting. I think as Zyphoskin is being tickled by these trees, he's gotten real distracted, and just as you're approaching the thin zones and like kicking in the nth gear of your hoverboards, Zyphoskin cannot keep it together anymore and reverts. So all of you are kind of like floating / dangling off of Carcinokin as you make your way through the thin zone. So the snag that I'm going to throw on this is for the next beat, you don't get anything higher than Carcinokin.
I like that. That's interesting.
Okay.
And
no surging.
Might be rough. Oops. Oh, goodness, no.
Maeve, I'm going to say that your hard light upscaling is maybe still in effect here.
Okay.
So I think you do still have a hold of K-Jump and Tybalt and Charla. So no one's like plummeting back down to the bottom of the ribbon or anything like that. This is a success after all. But you and Wolt are sort of dangling off of Carcinokin, and then the 3 of them are kind of dangling off of you.
Yeah.
So all of you are kind of in this precarious position. As you make your way through the thin zone, I'm going to mark a spot on the danger track. That is 1 for the landed in danger track of fail, and 4 for the overall danger track of security. 4 out of 8. And I will say that going through this thin zone, you are once again going to find yourself in Operaeblum, in Lansdowne Tower. On a higher floor, after all, you did travel higher up in Empyrean. Where exactly you end up? We'll find out. Helix, you are in the heart of the Pinnacle project in Web Corporation Mega Tower. You are with Mad Method and the stunts crew of Mogi Jacksonville and Shart, who are absolutely wreaking havoc in the Pinnacle project. Mogi is covered in sweat, piss, blood, maybe other fluids, as he is
Scorpion
juice.
Such odorous venom.
He's pretty nasty as he is running. I think he's maybe been dogpiled by a couple members of the Pinnacle Project more than once at this point, and they're not enjoying it. And they're from the Pinnacle Project, so they're used to like slime and bad times, but they're like, this is, oh boy, no good. Like the worst variable job is trying to tackle this man. Shart is following along with his camera. He whips out a slip and slide at one point, and Mogi's just going back and forth on that. You don't want to know what the slip and slide is being lubed with. But we're not focused on stunts. We're focused on you. Mad Method helped you get deeper in to the Pinnacle Project.
Yeah.
Mondo and Decembria are running interference with the scientists who are trying to get in your way. You found an elevator, and you got into it with Hanser Gramulon. As you boarded this elevator, swiped your stolen key card, and pushed the button, you realized it was going down, not up.
Nope. Up. God.
It doesn't go down far at all. It takes maybe 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, good. Well, let's figure out how to get this thing up.
The door opens, and you see a large, dimly lit room. It's very cold lighting. It's semicircular in shape. You roll along the flat edge of this room, and lining the circular edge is about a dozen big person-sized tubes. They are all filled with fluid and all occupied by people who look to be about your age, all, varying appearances, shapes, body types, all 10s. Important. You realize that you are in the room where they keep the controls of the Pinnacle Project. Next to each pod, there's a monitor that is keeping track of all of their vitals. There is a computer next to each pod. In the middle of the room, facing all of the pods, is one big computer with a bunch of different keyboards and buttons and dials and things. Inside the pods, you can see everyone is sort of hooked up to, they have sort of monitors on them, attached to them with wires. They're also sort of placed in this machine that keeps them moving. You see some of them are on a cycle where basically it's just moving their arms and legs so that they still have muscle definition. As you scan these pods, 2 of them in particular catch your eye, because one of them contains sequence, and the other one that catches your eye contains you.
Yeah, I love that description, Laena. I think, obviously Helix was very elevator focused, trying to get it to go back up. And as the door opens, it's, he sees what you describe and is just compelled. He knows, obviously, there's bigger priorities right now. But he knows what this is. He can't help himself. He is going to try to help himself, but he can't help himself. And so as Hanser's trying to figure out this elevator, not a native Operaeblum, let alone web, so Hanser can struggle with that. Well, Helix is just sort of drawn to the light. Oh, the control, of course. Oh, it makes so much sense. Hanser, I might need your help. These are the controls. These are the members of the Pinnacle Project used to check me and my colleagues out in Operaeblum against something to check against. I mean, he's quite frantic. He's kind of sputtering. But yeah, is a control. I assumed a control was an average person and a variable was someone who was put through the ringer. But oh my God, everyone outside of this room is a variable. These are the controls. And looking at the big computer, these must be the controls. Yeah, sees the one. I think before he sees the one with him in it, he sees the one with Sequence.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my, Sequence, I like walks up to the pod, looks at the monitor you said had all the vitals going. And perhaps actually, I'm going to even say is enraptured by just seeing his friend Sequence in this floating pod. And then maybe Hanser points his attention towards the one that
he taps you on the shoulder and points to the next pod over.
And yeah, Helix is face to face with a version of himself, his clone brother, opposite, what have you, and is just sort of staring up in awe at this. There's a lot going on. Existential questions about who he is and what he's known about his whole life. He knows clock's ticking on this mission we're on, and he's briefly dumbstruck. Hanser, I know we have a lot to do here, but I need to seize this opportunity while I have it.
What opportunity are you referring to?
And he's going to you see him fiddle with the monitor. It's a touchscreen kind of pad for his clone of himself, and he doesn't get any headway. He turns around and goes to the main control center and begins to fiddle with some of the dials, see if he can get in access. He doesn't have certain access, and even if he did, this is technology far outside of anything he's ever experienced. And clock's ticking, so he just kind of like shrugs and answers Hanser's question. I'm gonna take control, and I'm going to use He's going to use the energy lattice to turn his board into a big chainsaw like he did in one of the first episodes. But again,
that's not a hacking tool, Liam.
He's not going to sit there and try to hack this and figure this out. He's just going to get hard light, chainsaw blade teeth going around his hard light board. I believe if you remember in an early episode when he did this, a chainsaw goes in a circle because it's a chain. But this goes top to bottom, like the lights on a marquee. So these teeth, and he just.
So as you were sort of like fiddling with the computers, like Hanser was just watching.
Yeah.
You made your way to the main console, and Hans followed you, like with a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And I think he was also sort of going through and like, maybe he's even still at one of the screens, like looking intently, trying to plug in different things. Constant access denied, access denied, access denied, right? He looks to one end and he sees one big button. And then he looks at the other end and he sees another big button. And his eyes are fixated on the button and he says, Helix, I think.
And before Hanser can point out it's a basic, 2-button release system that I'm sure you were going for, Helix holds a, vibrating chainsaw skateboard over his head and just brings it down on the machine. The stupidest thing the Smarts playbook could do.
Let's get a mother vuxen roll!
And if this doesn't work, I'm going pod by pod.
You gotta do a trick on this. It's mandatory.
Yep. Okay, I'm doing a trick about it. He just goes, check it.
How many d6 are you rolling?
Do I get any kind of bonus the way, Luft helped with the lift and...
I bet if you were trying to actually hack the system and do it that way, Hanser would be very helpful.
Great, I got okay, I'm going to use...
Take some hype, my dude. For context, Liam is making the most important role of his character's entire arc, and I saw him with 2 dice in his hand.
I'll do
all you need.
1d6 from the hard light board, and can I take one from the hype pool?
Yes.
Great, 3's plenty.
We'll see. I mean, maybe less is more, right?
Yeah.
All of you have been rolling 46 and getting mixes, so...
That's true.
Yeah, there's a 6.
There it is!
A 6!
That's all it needs!
Sparks start flying, hard light shards begin to rip off the hard light board, and then immediately reform. And I like the idea that hard light shards as they fly off just sort of break into light ephemera, but actual very real shrapnel chunks of this computer. begin to break away. I think that maybe on the first go, it shows like a systems kind of failure, and then he just starts going towards tubes that are like coming out of this console. He's gonna smash everything he can until these pods go.
I think it's a combination of things shutting down and kind of blowing up. The monitors all just like go black, and then they start sparking and kind of melting. I think that all the tubes instantly drain, and each occupant of the tube is sort of like lowered on their little machine down until their feet are touching the floor. There's like a pneumatic hiss as each pod, the door sort of disengages, and the sort of reactions are widespread as 12 control members of the Pinnacle project, some who have never seen the light of day, stumble out of their pods, look around, dumbfounded. I'm picturing like a two-piece swimsuit situation.
Yeah, I was thinking bicycle shorts
shorts.
Bicycle shorts for everyone and athletic bras for the breasted ones.
Yeah. And so everyone's like sort of, looking around, noticing the things that they're hooked up to and pulling off the little sticky bits and getting rid of those wires and stuff, looking around, looking at each other. It's kind of pandemonium for a little bit.
Yeah, there's slime all over the floor.
There's slime everywhere. And you see all of them sort of coming out. And Hans sort of is just kind of standing. He doesn't really know what to do because there's so many of them that he's not really sure how he can help in this moment. He's just kind of like caught off guard, I suppose. I think the person who like reacts the strongest out of everyone in this room is Sequence.
Yeah, and I think he even reacts the strongest to making sure Sequence is okay, because he puts two and two together and assumes that the one that's him has probably been in there for a very long time, whereas he's very concerned that the one that's Sequence is his pal Sequence.
Oh, you know what happens? Yeah, she kind of stumbles out, and same sort of deal, looks down at herself, pulls off the wires, kind of shakes herself off, and looks up and looks next to her, sees your face basically on the control of you, and it instantly clicks to you that you were right in your assertion, because she looks at this person and she says, Helix?
Sequence. I'm Helix. I mean,
and she jerks her head over and she sees you. Helix?
I mean, he's Helix too, but I'm the Helix you've met before. Are you the Sequence I've met before? He knows, but he's still got to ask.
She nods.
They embrace, they hug.
Yeah. Immediately as you come up to her, she like rushes up to you and just like throws her arms around you. It's very wet.
Yeah. I can't believe. Not only can I not believe that they would keep specimens in tubes like this, but that they would interchange them with people who've been outside of the tube. Sequence, do you remember your time in the Pinnacle project before the tube?
Yes. I remember going down into the fog with you, and when we came back up, that's it.
Brilliant, because I have a lot has happened in the interim, but I'm going to need your help immediately. I am currently on a mission to warn all of Operaeblum of an impending doom. Found myself in this room, seized the opportunity to free you and myself. I like looks over at the like mostly naked, slimy version of himself, and like he's like, I can't even right now with this guy. I really, not only should I not have done this and again can't be down here, but I need to go and finish what I started. Sequence, you're the closest thing I have in this particular scenario to someone who knows what's going on. I need you to take all of these controls to safety.
She sort of processes this very intense thing that you have asked her to do. And then she looks at you and she says, okay.
Thank you. The rest of you, to the Sequence and the other, or to the other Helix and the other 10, my name is, and then quickly prattles off all 100 of his DNA sequence codes. That is also prattles off, points to himself.
The The Helix ends as like all those numbers, but with a B at the end.
You've all been in a control pod for an indeterminate amount of time. There are going to be security guards here any moment. I have freed you. I hope this is for the best. I guess we'll find out, but I can't stay. My colleague Hanser and I have other priorities. Please follow Sequence's directions. And actually, he doesn't call her Sequence. He says her whole 100-digit name.
Yeah.
Please follow Sequence's directions, and I will rendezvous with the rest of you, assuming I am successful in my mission. And he kind of says that last part to himself, because he like, oh my god, does he want to, talk to this other version of himself? The 2 seasons of Quantum Kickflip, and the Smarts always has a split version of himself. But we don't necessarily have time for that in this moment. He's got Sequence that he trusts to get these people to safety. We need to go. I can't be caught having disrupted this experiment.
Almost on cue, the lights start to flash red, and you hear this klaxon alarm start going off through the entirety of the Pinnacle project, and everyone starts sort of looking around. Your speech has kind of rallied everyone together, and Sequence starts looking around for the escape route. Hands points to the elevator. It is the only way out of here. And she nods. She points to, like, 4 other people, 4 or 5, basically as many as can fit in the elevator with her. And she says, we'll go first, and we will clear a path for you.
Incredible. And then I guess if Sequence takes themselves and 4 others, maybe we got to wait for the elevator. I guess Helix has his moment to look himself in the eye.
Yeah, that's true.
And they just sort of size each other up. I'm Helix the variable. I'm your brother.
This makes very little sense. A moment ago, I was in my workshop and I was fine-tuning the space-time ampimeter so that we could discover the thin zones that were leading into and out of Webb Tower. And now I am here, and I've never seen anybody like you before. I assumed I was the only one.
I assumed I was the only one as well, but far as I can tell, I've been living in reality, living my full life, and if some of the readings I saw before and he gestures over his shoulder, like smashed the computer, perhaps you were being fed artificial memories.
He looks back over his shoulder to the pod that he came out of and the half-melted monitor and desk with the information that had been collected on him.
This is also congruent with, and he pulls out that form that he stole early in the season that said like control variable and had a bunch of normal readings.
He will actually take that from you and take a second to read over it. In a way, I find myself more ready to accept this because where I was, where I assumed myself to be, everything felt too complacent. And he's looking around at the flashing red lights, the trashed computers, the other half of the control of the Pinnacle project getting ready to board the elevator. In fact, maybe the door opens and the rest of them pile in and it closes. He says, I have never seen anything so discordant before.
Welcome to life as a variable.
And the door opens again and Hans goes, let's go, let's go, let's go. We do need a roll to get you out of the Pinnacle project.
Sure.
But because you freed the control group, and because you're rolling to escape, thus invoking the advantage of Mad Method, I will add 3d6 to your roll.
Oh. Well, I think that's plenty.
That's all it needs. That's all it needs.
Are you doing a trick on the way out?
Oh, yeah. You know what? He is going to do a trick. So this is obviously like we're going back in the elevator, but we're trying to escape the whole Pinnacle project. So this roll is to like get us back out the way we came or back up to where we need to be. Like what? This is
basically escaping the Pinnacle project and getting up higher.
Great. They load into the elevator, and while he's in the elevator, He begins fidgeting with the hard light board, and he goes, hard light board, extrapolate y-axis, 2-person mount, and makes the hoverboard long enough for 2 people to ride it.
Nice.
Him and the other Helix immediately kick off. They're both using the same foot to push because they're both right-handed.
And this Helix is definitely like not as skilled in this as you. Like he hasn't done any like hoverboarding stuff. Presumably he had his own like little hard light aperture, but he never used it for this.
Yeah, he never practiced it. He just imagined he practiced it. So he maybe puts a hand on Helix A's shoulder.
Yeah.
And just this slimy, sweaty pile of beautiful people come pouring out of the elevator. They see the frictionless room that had the scientists in it and Decembria and Mondo.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the stunts guys are going. Let's see if we get there, though, as I roll 4d6 about it.
There it is.
There it is.
There's a 6 in there.
That's a 6.
That's all it needs.
They push their hard light board. They're shoving scientists out of the way. It's basically just pandemonium.
Yeah.
And
picture everything kind of going in slow motion. And all around you, these like
this, the opening of Deadpool, where it's just there's all this bullshit like floating by in slow mo. A scorpion covered in piss, a bonsai tree, like a clipboard with control variable written on it.
Half-naked control members of the Pinnacle project.
Half-naked stunts guys.
They were still trained the same way that you as variables were trained, right? They still were quote-unquote working out. So they just like get into these stances and start throwing hands pretty skillfully. One of them throws a scientist and just like goes flying across the frame as you're heading straight down towards the exit. Hands is right next to you. Mondo and Decembria fall in and you're all sort of running as the squad while not explosions, but like the activity equivalent of explosions is happening all around you and behind you.
Yeah. I think we escape successfully. And I guess, do I invite this guy to come help with the mission?
It would give you more of a chance to catch up with him, but he also might be a liability.
Doesn't have any equipment or anything like that.
Yeah, I think because he doesn't have any equipment, and because he needs, like he said, he got sequence A to sort of rally everyone. I think he's like, please protect sequence A and sequence B.
Okay, I can do that. Sequence was the one, and he prattles off her entire 100 number.
Yes, the beautiful one with the brunette hair.
Right, yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
So Helix B runs off to rally with sequence A, and Helix Prime, Helix A shouts out, Mad Mephit, it's a bit of a dead end. We need to find another way up to the 800s.
Right, you have any leads on that, brain boy?
Hans actually speaks up as Mondo does and says, well, Mondo, we could do the special delivery.
Hans, why you always got to bring up the special delivery?
We can do it.
You say that we can do it, but we've never done it.
Well, that was because we had that falling out. It's true, we didn't talk for a while.
All right, so now it's all because of what I did again, right? Yeah?
Kind of, yeah.
It caused a rift, and it's unprofessional.
But now we have our chance to do it.
Yeah, well, you know we always needed a team of 4 to...
And we've always needed to replace our special package delivery teammate, so whatever you got, I'm in.
And we're gonna cut away. Hello there, Gold Star listeners. It's me, Laena, your Slugblaster Game Blaster. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Quantum Kickflip. You can support us by following us at Quantum Kickflip on social media, where we post new episode updates, audiograms, and more. You can also support us by following us at Quantum Kickflip on Patreon. For just $2 a month, you can join the Shredder tier and get access to all new episodes of Quantum Kickflip 2 days early, or for $5 a month, you can join the Ultranaut tier and get early access plus exclusive bi-weekly bonus content. If you subscribe to our Patreon today, you can listen to the behind-the-scenes GM featurette where I talk about my approach to disasters in Season 2 of Quantum Kickflip. It may not surprise you to learn that I tend to be pretty improvisational with my disasters. Earlier on in the season, I absolutely would write down disaster ideas. But as the season went on, I even stopped doing that as much. Because I found that anytime I planned out what the disaster would be, it often wouldn't happen. Almost to the point that the more I planned it, the less likely it was that the characters would fail their disaster rolls. To listen to this behind-the-scenes exclusive and so much more, head to patreon.com/quantumkickflip and subscribe today. I'd like to thank our sponsors at the Alberta Media Arts Alliance Society, whose goal is to advocate, educate, and celebrate the media arts in Alberta. To learn more, head to amaas.ca. We release Quantum Kickflip bi-weekly, so you can catch the next chapter of the Season 2 finale on Wednesday, May 1st. Let's get you back to the action. Trev 4. The elevator is ascending. The Wicks and Stanch are all gathered around you. And you hear a little voice. Wherever you've stored your Dibovice, you hear a voice.
Trev 4! Come in, Trev 4, do you copy?
Can you describe the Dibovice that you have and the Dibokin that resides therein?
All right. The Dibovice I have, the little character or whatever.
Yeah.
It is just a guy.
A guy.
In like a little suit.
Uh-huh.
And he's got like a mustache and everything like that.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm getting big default Sims vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
And his name is Humano. And
Humanokin.
And I mean, he does upgrade to huge Manokin.
I mean,
and it's the same thing.
Did get these from like a dollar Gashapon machine.
Yeah, and the evolution is just him, but his sleeves are ripped off. And his muscles are a little bit built up.
Bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But he is in his proto form, which is
that's right.
Humanokin.
Humanokin.
He eventually becomes old Manokin. He's less physically strong. It's more of a wisdom thing.
Yeah. That's when he gets his magic powers.
Yes. Hello, Brabley. We are ascending. I'm sorry. Things are not perfect. Things are a little jumbled in the brain.
Are you in one of those elevators that doesn't have the glass? You're breaking up.
Yeah, my voice pattern is broken, and I am trying my best.
Oh man, that sounds rough. Listen, I've mapped out the rest of your route. You're really, really close.
Excellent. I caught myself on that one.
That was a weird vowel sound for the word excellent. It's all the same vowel sound all the way through. It's all
Don't worry. I will be able to get online and be able to fix it and get the message out.
Okay,
oh God, he's talking to no one. He's dying. He's passing on.
We're losing him!
His ram is flashing before his eyes.
But guys,
don't worry, Brabley. I will go towards the light.
The door's open.
There's the light.
Are you dying? What's happening?
And you see, it is very well lit in this particular area of Kindred Multiversal. And it is luxe. Think like maximalism and Art Deco just like smushed together. Its patterns, its colors.
A lot of brass and gold.
Brass, gold, Oh, baby.
It's kind of my ideal design aesthetic.
Yeah. Oh, you are a kindred boy, Michael Vetsch. The floors, it's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but it's not stars. It's 3 triangles like a little Triforce, and they're silver, not gold. And they have names of all the celebrities. That's what the floor is. There's like cafes, and everything looks all sleek. There's sitting areas with curvy benches and like cool rock gardens, not plants, rocks, because then you can shape them to look more sleek. Mm-hmm. Along either side, there's like these building facades that are a number of different things. There's museums and theaters with flashy marquees. There's fine dining restaurants, and their aesthetics range from classy to elegant to upper class.
Opulent? Are there any opulent ones?
Oh, there's opulence, absolutely.
All the tastes.
All the tastes
Yeah.
are here, absolutely. Everyone here is a stunner, an absolute babe, and dressed in the most expensive clothes, powerful suits with powerful shoulders.
I've just seen points that go out from the shoulders.
And straight up, baby. Sometimes straightforward.
All the brands, you got your Gochi, you got your Prita.
And as you sort of go out onto this floor, just like kind of glitching out, also, you know, clearly a Trev 4 unit, you see the 11s, by the way. Not just in, like, looks, but the Trev 11s as well. And, like, the robots that are, like, oh, their points of articulation are smooth. Their hardware is not exposed. Their shapes are shapely. Their tech is high.
I assume whenever Trev sees these upgraded units, whenever there's a little bit of that, like, oh, these are the popular girls.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
That's exactly what I want.
And so it's just, I turn back around to them. First of all, I want to try to get a quick sense, a scan of like where this ad, where the signal might be sent out from. Do I get any quick, like...
I mean, Bradley said he had mapped it out, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you do know exactly where you need to go. Basically, you need to take this straight shot down this sort of promenade, go into sort of like a back hallway kind of vibe, and then through a door and you're there.
I can see that in Trev's vision, it's the equivalent of like when you're playing a video game, you see the compass thing of like,
yeah,
oh,
and there's the dot, and you're like, I
just gotta
make
follow
my way
this,
to that dot.
This golden path or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just turned to them, these ragtag crew with me.
Yeah.
And we, all right, team, we got to impress them. We got to act cool. Don't worry, everything will be just cool if we act just cool. All right. And then Trev goes to lead, but of course he's still jumbled up. And his motor, he goes to walk, and it's just a series of deep lunges, just like his knees like going all the way to the ground and then he comes back up. So it's just a series of lunges. And he passes the Trev 11s and just go to after again.
The Wicks all sort of look at each other, and they have varying degrees of uncertainty on their face, but they also like look and nod and like all take a deep breath, and they kind of like fall into like kind of a formation. They're not BRB, but they do kind of like try and like cohere as a unit, and they're also trying to sort of pass themselves off as like, no, we're supposed to be here kind of thing. And you have absolutely what's Stanch doing actually?
I feel somewhat underdressed. Are the oil stains? Does that make me underdressed? Oh no.
I think you have to just own it.
I never learned how to strut. I can't lunge with my bum knee.
Do you want my choker necklace? It might help.
I think I'm going to try to use like a combination of my aperture and like also my intuition of just like trying to act cool, but also like if I'm noticing people are noticing us, which is going to be kind of impossible not to be noticed, but like use my intuition to avoid any pockets of like people looking our direction kind of a thing.
Perfect.
And I think that's how I'm going to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you've definitely picked up on the challenge of this area is that you are not supposed to be here. And anyone who looks at you will probably tell in fairly short order. So the challenge here is indeed how well can you play off like you are supposed to be here. So let's get a roll to see.
Now, just to keep in mind, anything short of a 6 on this roll means you fail the mission, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I know. I
just reminding the listeners of the stakes here that I'm very worried about.
Yes. No. I think what it's going to be is as Trev is going, his way of blending in is purely just calling out the same thing that he's done with the Wicks before of just like trying to not draw attention to himself by instead pointing out like what those two are thinking over there and those two are and like starting to cause like social chaos of people just like
reading from the burn book of people's minds.
Yeah. She thinks you look stupid. She thinks that this date is a waste of time. And just like every individual like pointing and just doing all of that. Like, yeah, this robot's acting weird. And but specifically is able to kind of like pick out like the surface thought in all of them. And of course, yes, there is that blare of like, I am reading your thoughts is going on, but like, and then following up with like the most incisive thing of like, the toupee is obvious and whatever. And just doing a series of those all the way through. So it's like, yeah, we stick out, but like soon, like, wait, this is weird. What do you actually believe that? And like, that's the hope.
Right.
The people who do notice you get distracted by their interpersonal issues, and the people who might have noticed you start to avoid you because like, oh, I don't want him to read my thoughts. I'm like, actually, never mind. Don't pay attention.
Full in the open. So it's just like I'm beeline it, but just like catching all of these things.
Okay.
Probably with some help from Wendy Wick, who's just like adding.
You know what? I think they're actually hesitant to jump in until they see how this goes. So about that roll.
Oh yeah. So this is where I'm going to invoke my middle finger. So I'm just going to I need a 6, and so I have a 6, and there's my 6.
So okay, the Wicks at first are a little bit thrown off by this brazen play, right? They were thinking of playing it very much like, oh, put on a hard hat and grab a clipboard and you can walk through a construction site and pretend you're supposed to be there. I think they were going to just try and just like walk purposefully, but you are really making yourself stick out. And at first they seem really on edge, but as more people start reacting to this, they start to act like a hype squad for you. So as you start to insult people, they go, oh, no, you didn't just say that.
Because that's the whole thing. All of these people are just like thin veneers. Like everything's just a mask. Everything's just put on and just like able to just pinpoint the thing. Like the shallowest.
To the heart of you. Whitney just like snaps every time.
Everybody can tell that tan is fake, and whatever it is.
Don't pretend you know what sunlight is.
Yeah, all Operaeblum tans are fake, but that's
there's no sun, but
but this was extra fake.
Yeah.
As a stressed out dad with 3 kids on a leash.
The kids would rather be with their mom right now.
There's a woman with a pet ferret.
The ferret would rather be dead.
There's a robot squeegeeing some windows.
Don't let the hot power hold you back.
The robot holds up one fist solidly.
Squeegeeing with the other hand still.
Yes.
And I'm able to make it all the way through. People are starting to avoid me to the point where it's like there may not be anybody really around by the time we get to the door to the entrance into the control room.
Great. So you are here. You are at the ad center. Mm-hmm. The ad center in Kindred is a big room. Think the kind of room in movies where there are like 36 computers and twice as many monitors. just all lining a wall.
Sure.
And every monitor is playing an ad.
Yeah.
And they all correspond to a different billboard on a different floor, on a different side, inside, outside, whatever. So many computers, fully populated by robots.
Yeah.
Zipping back and forth, taking files, probably on like thumb drives in their thumbs, as they go from one computer and like plug in and and then that screens change over on one side and then maybe you see at one point, you don't quite catch where it happens, but at one point all of the screens change to the same thing, and maybe it's the ad for Triskelion Base.
Sure.
Kindred Multiversal Megatower is about to become so much more. Introducing Triskelion Base, and it like weaves through the construction site and does the projections of the cool finished project and all that kind of stuff. And you hear a little voice coming from the Dibovice that you have on your person, robot self, and Bradley says,
You made it! You're there! Okay, you just need to put the thing in the thing, and then the ad will play. You gotta get the right one. You want to get all the screens, okay?
Excellent, I will. And Trev's trying to like focus up, try to like defrag the hard drive a little bit in himself to try to like, okay, I'm focusing. You say there's all these screens. What kind of people are in here?
robots.
It's just
All robots.
All robots.
Yeah.
And so like none of them are particularly paying attention to us per se.
No, I think they're fairly focused on their tasks.
Sure.
Maybe if you donk something up, some attention will be drawn your way. Though I will say, you are in the ad center. You just have to make sure this message that you have gets where it needs to go. So because of that, problems won't tick the danger track. Only a failure will. So if you roll a 4 or 5, you will get a problem, but you're not going to fail.
So there's a bunch of points, and these drives can go into a bunch of these different machines, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I'd be trying to look for the one that kind of is like the main computer that maybe like
with your omniscience aperture, you could probably see kind of how things are networked.
Yes, that's right.
Or like at least attempt to follow the connections and see, is there one hub that everything else is networked through?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I would be like looking for, is see where it's kind of the center one or the main one.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think with your omniscience aperture, you can go so far as to tell which ones are the more auxiliary sort of interfaces. The ones that maybe are just for like the lower floors or any screen that's less than 42 inches or whatever.
I want to try to get to the root one.
So for that, I will need the roll. And with this roll, should you succeed, you can find the main interface and plug in the ad.
Okay, so I'm going to take one from my attitude, one from my turbo.
These are D6s?
These are D6s. I'm going to take one from the hype pool. That is essentially all of my dice that I can roll.
Okay.
46.
Before you roll, actually, 5d6. Because I'm going to give you Bradley's advantage of getting that ad in.
Oh, awesome. 5d. One of these has got to be a 6.
And with that, we're going to cut away. Maeve and Wolt, you are dangling off of Carcinican, who I don't think can fly.
Not without like
on.
shooting a bunch of bubbles, He's kind of like got to actively do that. But if we're dangling off one, it's probably one on each claw, so he's probably not using those to propel himself with said bubbles, so no.
Yeah, that just occurred to me. So y'all are falling, and where you find yourselves is a huge glass cage. There's a lot of glass and sort of like artificial sunlight-esque light in this space. You are surrounded by trees that seem like they might be actual trees. And you hear a lot of bird song all around you. And that is about all I'm going to give you. Because you're falling, what do you do before you hit the ground?
How high are we falling from? Like, we just came through a thin zone, right? So we're emerging into this dimension. How high up?
I would say about 50 feet. You're in a pretty big enclosure.
And Walt doesn't have access to any of his higher forms. And I've got my hard light upscaling, but I'm currently using it to hold on to everyone. So if I go to turn that into wings or a parachute, I'm letting everyone go.
I think I might recall a situation in which specifically Wolt and Carcinocan were, I don't know, falling or dropping from somewhere.
All right. Let's go.
So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think we're going to continue to fall, and just ahead of where we would go splat, Wolt is going to have Carcinocan try and enact the inertial vortex. Roll to subtract momentum from a room-sized area around you, slowing nearby enemies and objects.
Amazing. Let's get a roll.
So the chill begins with 2d6, and I will add 2d6 from my turbo pool. Bring me up to 4d6. That's a 5.
Mixed success. Describe this inertial vortex.
I think Wolt almost just takes Carcinocan in his hands and holds the crab forward in front of him as he's falling. Just so he can be the first one and he can enact the vortex ahead of them. And Carcinocan calls out, "Buoyant basin!" And just eruption of this almost glassy film quality that erupts out in front of them and slows them right down just before they hit bottom.
You engage this inertial vortex, and I think it's absolutely enough to slow all of you down, and you land safely at the bottom of this enclosure. You look out, Wolt, and you see one little kid on the other side of the glass just staring at you, lollipop in hand. You're able to sort of get your bearings and look around, and you are in a big bird enclosure. This is an extremely niche reference, but think of West Edmonton Mall when it had the enclosures with the flamingos, but 10 times bigger and way less sad.
If this appears to be an enclosure that would typically enclose something, do I happen to accidentally notice the stuff everyone else didn't, such as, I don't know, looming monsters?
Maybe. Well, I was maybe gonna throw a slam at all of you as these birds start swooping in and pecking you because you're in their territory.
No.
But you seem to be invoking your guise ability.
It just means that I notice it, so I don't know that it doesn't really negate the bad thing happening, but I'm aware that I'm being pecked at by birds.
How does that work?
I mean,
would it perhaps discount a nope?
Sure. I would allow that. So you are, Wolt and Maeve, both going to take a pecked slam from these various birds of Operaeblum fauna that are cheesed at you being in their territory.
Normally they're birds of paradise, but this is a dystopia, so they're birds of dystopia.
Yeah, they're birds of dystopia. I love that. Should you wish to nope this slam, I will allow you to do so for only one trouble, thanks to your guys ability.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll take the slam because I get a style anytime I do. And I got 3 slam boxes, so I got the room for it.
All right. You are building up that style, girl.
So focused on keeping all the people in your tentacles out of harm's way that you just get got by birds.
These birds are kind of swooping down at you, and some of them get some pecks in, and I think some of them are just sort of doing the thing where they swoop to try and scare you off. And Wolt, from Carcinocan, you hear Brabley's voice.
Wolt, this is Bradley. Do you copy? Trev 4 is almost in position, and you're almost in position too. I'm sending Carcinocan the coordinates to the ad center. You're really close.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just ping us the pin, and then we'll make our way there.
Yeah, perfect. I'm pinging the pin to you now.
So Carcinocan has what he needs to sort of get you to the ad center from here.
Woldton, the ping pin is in.
And I'm going to take your guys ability one step further. There are a couple of ways that you can approach this. One, there is an access panel out of this enclosure. If you want to be like, I'm not messing with this enclosure, I'm getting out and making my way there. Who knows what you're going to encounter on the other side of this glass? There are 2 more neighboring enclosures, and based on Carcinocan's data, on the other side of that 3rd enclosure, that is where you need to go. So basically, do you want to go through the enclosures and deal with whatever is in each enclosure, or do you want to take the access hatch out and deal with whatever's on the other side?
Maeve, we've got to make a move here. We going more animals, or are we dealing with society?
Maeve is still getting pecked by the birds, and she's like, "Oh, what? 1 second, hang on, get out of!" And she kind of swats them away with the last lingering remnants of her hard-like tentacles. And I was like, "Yeah, get!"
Maeveline, can you please sit me down? I'm allergic to plumage.
She sets everyone safely on the ground. Hang on 1 sec. And Maeve runs up to Walt and gives him a big old kiss. It was like, before we go any further, Vux, that was amazing. You just saved all of our asses back there. You know that, right?
The girlfriend.
How did you ever think that you weren't good at this? I'm serious. How did you think that you were never going to be a Slugblaster? Like, you have saved us more times than I can count, and you always make it look like effortless, like it didn't even phase you for a second. Meanwhile, I'm getting pecked by birds and I'm almost falling to my doom. I had nothing back there. We were in free fall and I had nothing, and you just shrugged it off.
And Walt cuts her off with another kiss. I guess I just needed the right teammates.
By the end of this run, just one time I want to look as cool to you as you do to me every second of every run that we spend together. And this is Maeve invoking pep talk to refill our hype, but also to refill Walt's heart.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm inspired.
But now we have to make a decision. Like, as for the animals versus the people, I mean, all I know is whichever way we go, we're going to get through it because we got each other's backs. But animals, society...
Please, I'm allergic to most biological matter. Let's not go with the other animals.
Maeve has a brief impulse of wanting to pick the animals out of spite just to mess with Charlotte, but it's like, no, not the time.
Are any of them dogs? I like dogs.
Yeah, you strike me as a dog person, Tibble.
Thanks.
Got real golden retriever energy.
T-Dog all the way.
K-Jump, any thoughts? You with us again? You shake off Empyrean?
I think K-Jump is actually like off to the side and has been doing bird calls to lure the birds away from you. And it's like, what?
Do you want to stay with the animals, or do we want to try our luck outside?
I mean, I want to get to where we're going.
Both are options.
Is the ad center with the animals? I'm so confused about how things work in Operaeblum.
Let's just try our luck with the people. As we approach this access door, Maeve turns to K-Jump and is like, "Hey, your signature, it's the Voidware backpack, right?
Yeah.
Do you have the thing where we can all kind of get in? Well, you can all, a number of us can get inside of it and like hide inside?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great party trick.
All right. I think if you do that, I got something I can do, and maybe we'll be a little less noticeable as we try to move through the corridor here. Everyone, y'all good to climb into K-Jump's bag for a little bit?
In we go.
Yeah, let's do it. You're not getting in?
Nah, I mean, someone's got to carry the bag, right? Otherwise, it's just sitting in the enclosure, and that doesn't get us where we're going. But she fiddles with the controls on her jacket, and it turns into that invisible camouflage, and is like, I think I can maybe move a little more undetected than the rest of you.
Got it. Okay, you need to stand back then so you don't accidentally get sucked into the bag.
Right. Copy. And she takes a few big steps back away from the bag's vicinity.
All right, ready, everybody?
No.
Hey, you got this. And Tybalt takes Charlotte's hand.
I ship it. Is this... Do I have to roll for what K-Jump is doing? Is it one roll for this entire maneuver?
Let's throw a kick on it,
Okay.
and then it can be one roll.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. I will put 1 kick from my photonic jacket, 1d6 from my photonic jacket, and I'll throw a d6 from my grit as well. So we're up to 3d6 with a kick. Oh, I'm so nervous. Well, then I may just have to mark 1 trouble to take a dare and add 1 more d6 to this roll, because I don't have Liam's confidence. I always want more dice. Rolling with 4d6 and a kick. We got a 3. We got a 3.
Ooh.
We got a 4. And we got a 6.
We got a 6! Let's go. K-Jump flips her bag inside out. Wolt, what you experience is she flips it, and it's like you blink and your vision doesn't come back. Instead, it's just replaced by you and Tybalt and K-Jump and Sharla and quite a few birds, frankly.
If I'm being real with you.
Kind of floating in a void.
I thought we said we were getting away from the animals.
With a bunch of other things. I think there's like a BRB/Scramcat branded like helmet and knee pads. There's a water bottle in there. Got to hydrate. There's an errant can of Panic Cran Slam. A bunch of other random stuff that belongs to K-Jump. Maeve, what you see is K-Jump flips the bag, and then the bag just falls down and everyone is gone.
She like does that thing, she like blinks and tries to process what just like how that worked just now, and is like, I have no time to try and wrap my head around the physics of that. She picks up the bag, straps it onto herself, but straps it on like front side, and then takes her cloak and envelops herself and the bag and pulls her hood up, and then fiddles with the controls on her sleeve and melts into her surroundings. She has a brief moment when she remembers the time that her and Wolt used this ability back in Popularia, where they had to like cram into one jacket, and she smiles to herself, but then moves forward through the access door because she's on a mission. She's got to get to that ad center.
Yeah, absolutely. You go through this access door, you close it behind you, and you're able to see that you are in sort of like a combination mall and zoo. Like I said, lots of glass, lots of emulation of natural light. Obviously not natural light, because that doesn't really exist in Operaeblum. You have the bird enclosure. You have like a simian kind of enclosure where there's like apes and monkeys and stuff. There's a big tank full of fish and like some crabs and stuff. One little shark that's just swimming around but doesn't seem to be eating the other fish. It's fine. They're vibing. It's cool. There is also sort of like a mall element to this as well, but it's not like stores with people and products. It's like the panel of like a mall directory, and people go up and plug in the order, and then it just like gets droned over to them. And there's like a couple of these little panels that behind them, there's like doors where they like get the thing and then they can go into the fitting room and like, or like they go in and it's probably like a VR thing actually, where they like project it on themselves and they're like, yes, this will fit. And Maeve, I think you absolutely do see people patrolling this area. There is a security presence here, and you are able to just move past them. You make your way through this area, down a hallway, around a corner, and through a door into the ad center. The room that you are in is quite a bit smaller than the one in Kindred. You wouldn't know that. I think it's more of like a long, narrow channel. There is a computer directly in front of you, and lining the walls on either side are big servers with blinky red and green lights. And like on each server is the tiniest screen, playing the ad through just like janky speakers. And the computer is like the most basic ass looking code written in a dull gray and like vertical lines down it. And you, I guess, do you let your friends out at this point?
Yeah, like is this area populated at all, or is it completely empty?
It is empty.
Then yeah, I think Maeve lets everyone out. All right, I think we're here.
Yeah, you did it. It's me, Bradley.
Bradley, we're in the right spot?
You're in the right spot. You're exactly where you need to be.
Then where do we load up the ad? Is there an input or a console or what are we looking for here? This was your whole part in the thing. This was
Lanston was the one thing I couldn't figure out. I mean, you gotta plug it in and then run the ad. You have to run the program, but the code is kind of weird.
So we're on our own, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I can help. I
Okay.
just can't tell you all the exact numbers, but I can maybe add to a roll you have to make or whatever.
Right.
That's all right. Let's just let's check out this terminal here. Wow, no touch controls. Is there a rubber ball in the back of this mouse? What?
I told you, it's weird.
Ooh, is it gritty? Because if you take it out and soak it in you can clean the little ball and then put it back in, it'll run smoother. That's a trick I learned at the Arborist Temple.
It's got decent action right now. I think it'll do.
Why does it have 3 buttons?
Nobody knows.
Anyway, I think we're going to have to interact with this terminal.
Yes, you are. Okay, let's get a roll to see how this goes for you. Once again, because you are in the ad center, a problem will not mark the danger track, only a failure will.
And is this where we get a bonus from Bradley?
Yes, indeed. You will add 1d6 to your roll.
Wolt's at the keyboard. I'd be happy to start up on the roll.
I'd be happy for you to do that. I think that's a great idea.
We love this for you.
Yeah,
we
I
love
think the
this for you
person
and
with
your
2d6 flat should.
Yeah, that's fair. To start, the chill always begins with 2d6. I then also want to invoke the ability Sacrifice Your Body.
How?
Sweating.
Take a slam.
Walt gets a stress hernia.
Take a slam to get plus 2d6 to your action. This slam can be noted or avoided in any way. You actually got to take it.
I'm literally going to give you the slam of sweating.
Sweating?
Yeah. You got to flop sweat.
Okay.
And that fills the slam box.
Anyway, I've got 4d6. I think I'd also snag one from the hype pool, if I may.
Absolutely. Because I refilled it with the power of love. No big deal.
With the power of love. 5d6.
Let's get this roll. We are going to cut away. Helix. You are in Web Tower on 4-5, well away from the Pinnacle project. You are in a deserted hallway with Mondo, Decembria, and Hanser, and you are about to execute the maneuver, Special Delivery.
So, Mad Method, let me get this straight. Make sure I understand the Special Delivery maneuver. Decembria, an incorporeal, ghostly creature, is going to move through physical walls, ceilings in this case, to the destination we need to be, taking Hanser's Voidware backpack with her. So far I'm correct?
Yes, so far so good.
But before she does so, we are going to have the Voidware backpack interface with Mondo's Negafriction sides.
I got my 2 pairs, so I was going to store one inside the backpack and use the other one to open up the slip route.
Right. We're going to be using the slip rattle ability on your scythes, which lets you, as we all know, move from one point to another within the same dimension. But by having one of the scythes in the Voidware backpack, the other dimension we're going to is actually within the backpack, and Decembria will have opened the backpack at the destination we need. All of this sounds great. I just don't understand, why do you need 4 people to do this? What is my role in this?
Well, you see, Helix, normally the slip rattle is only sufficient for one person to be able to pass through competently.
Sure.
But with your hard light board, you can then use your hard light to hold that portal open, thus granting yourself and myself access through the portal after Mondo.
Oh, like a broom handle in an elevator door.
Yes, or perhaps like tentacles or big, strong, muscular arms. This used to be Maeveline's role if ever we were to execute this maneuver.
I understand. All right, well, time is of the essence. But I do want to thank you all. You've been invaluable in this endeavor, and I can understand why Maeveline might have stuck her neck out for all of you, even if it ended up being a mistake.
I think simultaneously Decembria and Hanser speak, and Decembria says, "That's so nice of you to say." And Hanser says, kind of a backwards compliment there.
It's a shame that Maeve's not part of Mad Method anymore, but I can see why she runs with you guys. Let's do this.
All right, so we are about to pull off an absolutely buck wild maneuver. I think I do need a couple of kick to make sure that this goes off just right. I pitched this and then I want kick from you. That's right.
I think in Helix, sort of explaining this back and using the old sci-fi analogy of like, oh, like putting too much air in a balloon, like, oh, like wedging it open with tentacles or a broom handle. I'm going to invoke Technobabble.
Ooh, yes.
So I want a style.
Gimme it.
I get it. And then I get an extra D6 to this. I will also add a kick from my attitude because do I need to add kick? I guess probably.
Yeah. 2 kick.
2 kick. Okay, 1 from my attitude, 1 from the hard light board itself. So I've got an extra D6, and you know what? I'm just going to use the last attitude D6 I have as well. So 3 D6 total, 2 kick. Away we go. I am on a roll. That's a 6.
Ain't no stopping Liam. Okay. They get into position. Hans passes off his backpack to Decembria. She floats up through the ceiling. Hans begins counting under his breath, counts to 50, looks at Mondo, nods.
Mondo starts swinging up the one set of Kusarigama that he has, and as it's spinning, I believe they were, was it a red blade? What color do we?
I think they were red, yeah.
Yeah, the red blade of the scythe, just as the big sort of like spinning circle begins, instead of like cutting forward, he just holds it open and it begins to sort of cut around in the shape of a circle in front of him.
Hanser looks to Helix and nods.
Hard light board, activate Z-axis, 100% rigidity, and then just shoves his hard light board into this portal. And you can see it trying to like shrink or close or wobble, as your interdimensional portals do. And it's just sort of stuck open like somebody wedged something in it.
And for a while, there's just this rapidly swirling crimson light. And then almost like tearing through it, you start to see something on the other side. And Hanser says, now. And he rushes through and disappears.
Mondo, you'll forgive me if I ask you to go first. Just given what Maeveline has told me about you, you can understand my trepidation.
Yeah, fair.
And they both more or less jump through together, but as they begin to emerge out the other side, before they get to wherever it is Decembria took the bag, there's like they're exiting through a scythe through a bag.
Yeah.
So they're like there's a bit of them coming out of the portal that's still within the bag, and so there's like chapstick and some crumpled up pamphlets and things, and then finally emerge from the bag.
There's so many Easter eggs in the bag that like the crumpled up pamphlet is for Doorways from season 1, and there's like Elliot's CD is floating around, but like just for the true fans,
Yeah. And I think where you are going to end up is directly in the ad center for Web Tower. You all rush out. Decembria, as soon as Helix, you are through last. She pulls the second scythe out of the bag, closes the bag, and whoosh, the portal instantly shuts and disappears. She holds the bag out to Hans and the scythe out to Mondo. As they're sort of getting their signature devices in order, you look around. You wouldn't know it, but you're on floor 799, and you are in a room that looks like a white void. And there doesn't appear to be any sort of computer or interface here. But perhaps as a resident of Web, you might know a little bit better. And it is at this moment that you hear a voice.
Helix, this is Bradley. Do you What? Hang on. What? You're already there. How'd that happen?
And can you just describe your Diebovice to me really quick?
Yeah, I think Helix grabbed another one out of a gumball machine like he did the Jellican in that first one. Double checked with Brably and Walt that it wasn't some special first edition thing that he could pay his rent with. And it is just like worth less than the materials it's made out of, junky Dibovice. But in terms of a communication device, it's good. And so he's holding a little Dibovice, and it's just kind of a little ball of slime. Kind of looks like a Ditto, the Pokemon. And he just like puts this like slime wad up to his ear like a cell phone. Brably, what do you? Yes, we made it. We've interfaced a Voidware backpack with some Negafriction scythes and skipped over the 4th dimension, went right into the 5th, and then back out here to the 3rd.
Awesome.
It is. It really, really is. Frankly, I'm just impressed that Mondo and the rest of Mad Method must have done the math and knew that this wouldn't collapse their realities into their own brains. You guys knew that was a risk, right?
Mondo's busy slapping people's backs in the back. Yo, special delivery, we did it! Yeah! Take that! No fee for delivery on this one!
Anyway, I guess now that you're there, I can help you get the ad where it needs to be.
Yeah, so I'll describe what I'm seeing here. Are you confident I'm in the ad center?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is white void.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I see.
That's it. That doesn't make any sense because there definitely should be something that you can like put the thing in and then it creates an ad.
I mean, he both Helix and Liam's a little stumped here what I'm supposed to do with this thing. Okay, everyone. Clear your minds to the best of your ability, and then imagine what you figured the ad center was going to look like, and then put your hands out. Actually, lick your fingers and then put your hands out.
Lick your fingers?
Yeah, it increases the frequency of the biometrics.
Do we need to touch anything?
It will touch you.
Oh, yeah. Hans starts licking his fingers. Decembria is just like holding out her hands and just like, I think I'm all tapped out, gang.
The higher the level of web, the more advanced the biometric interface with the technology. The elite among us basically just will the technology they need to manifest before them. For our listeners, I'm thinking kind of the way the cruise ship that Trev and I were on in that room where like just things sort of came up out of nowhere and looked like things like the danger room. So yeah, he sort of knows that like in lower levels, you put your fingers in the little shallow pool and that helps you activate the classroom you're in.
Yeah.
The smartboard, a teacher's smartboard, whereas up here, it's just like, no, the smartboard manifests before the teacher.
It adapts to you.
Adapts to you, precisely. Adaptive technology.
All right, let's get a roll to see if you're onto something.
I love the idea that if you beef this roll later, it'll just be like,
Nothing
no, that's
happens.
not what it is. you guessed wrong. Actually, there's a button you have to find. But
Hanser
it's white,
looks to his right and sees a button, looks to his left and sees a button.
So I'm actually all out of attitude, kick, and D6s. Oh, no, did I go one from Brably?
You do get one from Brably.
Great, I'm going to roll a 2D6.
We don't have any from the heights pool?
Yeah, we do, but I have yet to not roll a 6 tonight. I don't know why this trend would not continue. So 2D6 as Helix tries to manifest the control panel he needs in this white void.
We're gonna cut away. All right, we have gotten 3 rolls in 3 ad centers. Let's recap. Trev 4, what did you roll?
I rolled a 5.
And I know you got doubles, so mark a style for Steezy.
Yeah.
Woldton and Maeve, what did you roll?
We got a 6.
A 6! And I know that Wolt, you got doubles, so mark a style for Steezy.
Yeah.
Helix, what did you roll?
Well, I also got doubles, but I don't have Steezy.
Ah, beans.
And I got doubles of 2.
So we have on the table a mixed success, a complete success, and a failure.
point of order, Webb does have room on the progress track. You could mark a fail and roll again.
That's kind of why I was being cocky about it.
Yep. And as I mentioned, the mixed success is a success here. There will be a problem, but the problem will not involve marking the danger track. So, Maeve and Woltz, you navigate these strange clickety-clackety buttons, this mouse with 3 buttons on it. You start plugging in code and sort of running through with Brabley's help. You take your thumb drive, you plug it in, and you press enter. And you see your message start to go out on all of the screens, on all of the servers in this room. Trev 4, you are able to navigate your way to the computer at the heart of this giant room full of robots, full of computers, full of monitors, full of noise. You are able to make your way through. You plug the thumb drive in. You navigate the menu that is going to take this ad to all of the screens of Kindred Tower. You did roll a mixed success, so your problem here is sort of carried over from your previous slam where you've been jumbled up and glitchy from the attack from the sword slider. You are using more processing power to figure out where this computer is, to figure out how to navigate this computer to get this ad where it needs to go. Normally it would be a lot, but then, your fans would kick on and you would sort of be able to work through it. But in your current state, it's a little bit too much. So I'm going to give you a slam of overclocked.
I can't really see a way of noping this, so I think I am going to just take it, and I just hold out, and maybe it's starting to burn some of my certain circuits or whatever, but I'm able to hold it on through to the other side. My brain is still jumbled, so now it's starting to certain aspects are probably, I'm unaware of certain things. I may not notice all the different connections to different parts of my body, but yes, overclocked. I'm taking it.
Perfect. And Helix. I think what happens is this computer does sort of make itself known to you. It's all built into the wall, it's a giant touch screen, you realize. And as you start to interface with this wall, you're trying to use your souped up biometrics to access it. You are too high up in the tower and it is not enough. A big red access denied flashes across the screen and you feel this burning sensation in your hands and you have to pull them away.
Ooh, firewall.
That's your slam, baby. Firewalled. And you realize that your biometrics are not going to work, but you have activated the computer. So now you need to find a way to manually override it to get this ad in.
I think even you fellow players noticed this before I did when I smashed the terminal in the other room. You're like, those aren't hacking tools. I'm like, what are you talking about hacking tools? I don't have hacking. Oh, I've had hacking tools on my character sheet since day one.
It's true. It's in there. I'm looking at it right now.
Hacking tools and the Fust mix, the soundtrack that accompanies all the best Fust and stunts videos.
Love it.
That also hasn't come. Actually, probably has come up more. He's got these hacking tools, and he's like, okay, well, biometrics aren't going to work, and if mine don't, all of you certainly won't. Hanser, can I get some help with this? I've got these pretty retro hacking tools. They don't usually come in handy when you're dealing with biometrics, but I think this is our only shot.
I'll do what I can.
How do we get this into the computer? He's trying to, in the same way he's trying to find a way to upload this video. He's like, well, where do I put the hacking tools? Being unsure, he hard light board, form of adapter, and sort of like a.
Ooh.
You know how you get you got one kind of dongle and the wrong kind of dongle, and you can get a little,
Yeah. I love that.
One end of the hard light board turns into something you can plug the hacking tools into, and then he just jams the hard light board into the computer as well, but not physically smashing it like he did the terminal. The sort of the hard light interfaces with the touch screen.
Yeah.
And now he can begin to hack and attempt to hack.
All right, we are going to get another roll for this.
Great.
There's only one spot marked on the web danger track, so you got a little room there, but there's only 2 spots left on the security track, so you got 2 more attempts here. Once again, take plus 1d6 for Brabley's advantage.
And I think I'm going to have to take some of the hype from my hype from the hype pool.
Yeah.
Oh, you're rolling with more than 2d6 now?
Yes, I've been humbled. So 1 from Brabley, 1 from me, 1 from the hard light board, 1 from the hype. I'm going to roll 4d6. That's a 6.
All right.
3, 4, 5, 6 to be precise.
You use the hard light board as an adapter to sort of get the hacking tools and sort of interface it in. You are able to get access. I think the hard light board also creates sort of an adapter that you can plug the thumb drive into.
Yeah.
And you are able to get this ad in. From there, you are able to sort of program it. And once again, just like everyone else, you are able to make it play on all of the screens on Web Tower.
Right at the 0 hour. They got theirs and just right under the wire.
You did
Web
it.
starts like a couple seconds in, like when you are on YouTube and like a video has autoplayed a little as you're hovering over it, and then you start the video and it's like 3 seconds in. Yours is just like a little bit delayed as you catch up to the rest of us.
Exactly. And across all of the screens, inside and outside of all 3 towers of Operaeblum, your message plays. Take it away, Gold Star Disaster.
Greetings, residents of Operaeblum. You may know me as Helix Pinnacle. I'm a member of the Slugblasting phenomenon Gold Star Disaster, and we have hijacked every screen in Operaeblum to pass on a dire and important message about the Triskelion base.
Greetings, residents. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Maeveline. Listen, we don't have a lot of time, so we're going to give it to you straight here. We have information about the future of Operaeblum, of all 3 towers. Doesn't matter if you're from Kindred, from Webb, from Lanston. This affects all of us. It's all about Triskelion base, and it's not good.
If they build this base, it will actually sink the 3 towers deeper into the planet and cause more toxic gas to rise up and to poison us.
In the background of this, Helix with his hard light board and Maeve with her hard light upscaling are like creating a visualization of this. Like Helix is creating the 3 towers and Maeve is creating the fog rising.
Regardless of what they've pitched for this project, it's not going to turn out well for any of us. This isn't the solution that will save us. We do need to work together, the 3 towers, but not like this.
Construction of the Triskelion base needs to be halted now. If you are involved in any way with the construction, development, planning, or implementation of the project, please stop what you are doing. If this information comes as a surprise or a frustration, please take a moment and consider the existential threat before us.
And think about where these orders are coming from and why. We don't know who's behind all this, but we've got some ideas, and frankly, if we all work together, we can figure it out. But, watch your backs and trust no one.
You may not be aware that the toxic gas is poisonous to you.
Trev, they're aware that it's right in the name. It's the toxic fog.
Please, everyone, you need to trust us and the information that we have. We happen to know a thing or two about disasters.
We cut ahead to Trinity Municipark, where all of you reunite. Gold Star Disaster, everyone that was on your individual teams, Brabley, you all come back together, and there is an air of relief and celebration that you did it. You did what you set out to do. We're just going to give you a moment to connect with each other again.
I cannot believe we Vuxen pulled that off. There were so many ways that should have gone wrong. We should have splattered on the ground. We should have... I don't know about y'all. Maybe yours went smoother, but it got dicey back there, gang.
Yes, my portion of the mission also had a number of complications that we did overcome, thanks in no small part to the folks in Mad Method as well as the stunts crew. However, I must admit, one of those complications was by my own design.
Yeah, I'm actually going to jump in, Helix, and say that Sequence has actually joined back up with you. In amongst all the people here at Trinity Municipal Park, Sequence is one of them.
This is my colleague from the Pinnacle Project and dear friend, Sequence. I found the control group. Long and the short of it is there's 2 copies of every Pinnacle Project member, one kept in a tube as a control and one let loose to live a life in Operaeblum to varying degrees of distress. And I liberated about a dozen of them and Sequence, they got to safety, right? You found somewhere to stash them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, everyone is safe.
So I mean,
Got to Bach in his living room with just 15 slimy naked people.
Where are all your... I don't have enough to feed you all.
so yeah, I may or may not have met my identical twin brother, completely dismantled the operation of the Pinnacle Project on my way to helping us achieve our goal. Sorry, not sorry.
Really checking off all the side missions you can, huh?
I suppose so. it all kind of sinks into him, and he takes a deep breath and smiles.
Maeve claps him on the back with 2 hands and just kind of like smiles approvingly, like, yeah, you took dumb risks, but you wouldn't be Helix if you didn't.
And Trev 4 gives like the star again. Another one of those. That is a lot to digest emotionally. But you have done incredibly well to prove that you are not just another clone, but you are fully yourself. And you have done good by your fellow clones. You should be proud of yourself.
We prefer the term specimen, but thank you.
Yeah, you should be real proud of this specimen here. Mate, you won't believe it, we pulled off special delivery. All
What?
thanks to
No.
him. Yeah.
I've always said it can't be done.
Were you worried that the reality was going to collapse in on your own brain?
I mean, now I would be. Wait, that was on the table?
You guys didn't know that was on the
You
table?
know what's on the table? Exactly what we delivered.
We did
Talking
do
about
it.
the fetus right there. You got a doner kebab right from the shop. Didn't have to go out.
It did work, Maeveline.
She shakes her head, but she's smiling.
For what it is worth, Helix, thank you for vuxing up the Pinnacle Project. You saved my life.
Well, we've yet to reap the consequences, so save your thanks. By the way, Brabley, excellent work, young man.
Thanks! That was awesome!
Well, Walt really came through on our end, and we wouldn't have survived that trip into the enclosure if not for him. And I mean, speaking of people coming through, hey, K-Jump,
Yeah.
thank you again for the maneuver with the Voidware backpack. Like, truly, we wouldn't have pulled this off without all hands on deck. And y'all are honorary members of Gold Star Disaster as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I don't know if we deserve that. Just
Like, because it's too high an honor, or because you take it as an insult?
you said the second one, and that's funny. So no, but really, we wanted to make it up to you, Maeve, and we are going to try to get that stupid ad taken down. It was dumb and low, and we shouldn't have done that.
Let it play. I think it adds to my my mystique, my cred.
And Trev approaches again and gives a gold star. Bloop.
And as all of you are decompressing and celebrating this monumental achievement, an ad plays on all of the screens of Operaeblum. It is not your ad. It is a straight-on shot of a single person talking directly into the camera. Residents of Operaeblum.
Fuck.
My name is Gabor, and I am the leader of a task force that operates in the best interests of all 3 towers of Operaeblum. Recently, a message was released by the group known as Gold Star Disaster, positing that Triskelion Base is a threat to the safety of our towers. I am here to reassure you that this message is entirely unsubstantiated and comes from a place of fear. Gold Star Disaster illegally infiltrated the ad centers of the towers to force through their message. They disrupted the key organizations of their towers, participated in dangerous portaling, interfered with authorities, and resisted arrest. Clearly, Gold Star Disaster feels that their status as the unifying force of Operaeblum is threatened by the development of Triskelion Base. They are trying to keep the towers separate so their influence will not be rendered obsolete. Let me be perfectly clear. The future of Operaeblum depends on the complete construction of Triskelion Base. As long as we are 3 towers, there will always be factions that feel they are the best, that will be unable to overcome their ego, that believe they are more deserving or more correct than their counterparts. Clearly, Gold Star Disaster is one such faction. We must not give in to discord and division. We must stand up to these attacks on our future. We must come together, because only then will we be able to move forward as one. To that end, I pledge to you that my task force will ensure the completed construction of Triskelion Base. We have at our disposal 4 sources of highly powerful negafriction that we will use to power state-of-the-art machinery and accelerate construction. For the first time, the footage cuts away from Gabor to a starkly lit warehouse, revealing 4 imposing, heavy-duty robots. They look like massive, dense blocks, steely gray and yellow in color, with 4 arms, no head, and a swiveling torso. The arms are lined with hinges, implying that they can fold back and transform into multi-purpose tools. The camera cuts back to Gabor, who leans in, his expression serious. Lansden Enterprise will not stand in our way. Webb Corporation will not stand in our way. Kindred Multiversal will not stand in our way. And Gold Star Disaster will not stand in our way. When we are done, these names will be but memories, and only Operaeblum will remain.